Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the LifeBites radio show where entertainment meets life. Today on LifeBites, spring into action. There's always ways of motivating yourself to higher levels. Write about it, dream about it, but after that, you have to turn it into action. Don't just dream. That's by Dan Gable. It's also the week of Mother's Day. Happy Mommy's Day to all of you mamas out there. It also happens to be my grandmother's birthday. We all know her as Baba. She's actually passed. She's flying free somewhere in the universe, but today would have been her birthday. And happy birthday, Baba. So, and also happy birthday to my mother. It's been a challenging year with my mom and her health, but I'd like to say a happy Mother's Day to you too, Eleanor Bosky, and to just to give her a lot of love and support. And a lot of you do know this, but some of you who don't, she's in probably advanced stages at this point of Alzheimer's. So I don't know if she understands physically that it's Mommy's Day and Mommy's Week, but I think on a spiritual level she gets it. So happy Mother's Day. And Jay Cruz, I'd like to also say thank you for being my producer. And how about your mom? I know you have a close relationship with your mom.
Yeah, I'm probably most grateful that she, in subtle ways or not so subtle, was a good teacher. She, let me learn to read and led me to radio and baseball.
Oh, she did?
And yeah, stuff.
So she's responsible for you getting into radio.
Bit. Yeah, put me in a room and said, listen to the game. I go, hey, this is kind of cool. I'll stay here.
Radio and baseball. You got to love Mom.
Yeah, read in between. But, allowed me to be a kind of a normal kid. I had a good upbringing. When I look back, I had nice time. I won't have any issues from my childhood of things where my parents were, weird, or I have to go into any therapy about that. Anything that is in my mind that's, weird is on my own producing and not because of my parents necessarily.
You mean no mom therapy?
Yeah, no, It's good. We talk and joke around. Good sense of humor, and probably since there was a point in my early adulthood, early in the 20s, we've had a pretty honest, relationship as adult friends, still mother-son, but purely I could just talk about anything and there's no judgment or, any of that, which is good because sometimes you want to go talk to Mom and you don't want Mom going, now.
Exactly. Not only when you're growing up, but especially when you become an adult.
Anytime. Later in life, it's sometimes just, it's equally as valuable as when it was back then.
I think one of the best gifts we can give our children is empowering them to make their own decisions. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes as adults, whether you're a mother or a father or any kind of guidance mentor, it's real easy to jump in and think you know the answer. But one of the best ways is to empower and strengthen that sense of self is to empower them to make their decisions, right, wrong, or indifferent.
I think so. And one thing I mentioned sometimes on air and off air, but, I lived in Hong Kong for a short period of time.
How is it that I didn't know that?
I don't know. Anyway, however, I was 14. And Hong Kong's a pretty big city, has some very rough areas, and it's just big. There's a lot of, and I was 14 in Hong Kong, and if you look at kids who aren't allowed to walk to school today in neighborhoods, like here in the beach cities even, just recently my mom was like, yeah, we let you go out with very much a trusting faith that you would find your way and be okay, and nothing would happen, but she just recently told me how obviously nervous they were, going, there's our son, even though I'm 14, I can find my way around the city. Yeah. Looking at how kids grow up now, I think we grew up faster then, but I think we were allowed a little more leeway, and we got a little more scrapes on our knees, and sometimes we drank water from the hose, and
Well, you remember back in the day,
like that,
which you never really see anymore, where, you'd start out at 7 o'clock in the morning and wouldn't see your parents until dinner time. And today, you go on, quote, play dates. There's not a lot of, even in the kids in our neighborhood in Hermosa Beach, right? They have, where their parents are usually outside with them if they're under 10 years old.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
14, 15, that's a whole different story.
Yeah,
but still,
obviously. But yeah, but even then we grew up and we're playing baseball in our own neighborhood with other kids. So it was different times. But anyway, I appreciate that she, as you said, allowed me to go out and scrape my knee and cut my nose and make my own decisions and learn how not to do those things.
You gotta love Mom. Well, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there that is celebrating Mother's Day this weekend. Also want to share with you that for those of you who know that I'm a contributor for Positively Positive, it's a great site, and Facebook has over 1.7 million followers. And I recently wrote an article called Mission Possible, and I've talked about this in my radio shows that I'm working with the LA Mission, which is, for those of you that are outside of Los Angeles, it's one of the biggest communities on Skid Row that helps the homeless community get back on their feet. They feed them every single day. It's one of the biggest and largest communities that really help people in need. And I recently wrote an article that was a place of love and pain. So I had no intention of writing this article because a well-established large newspaper in Los Angeles was going to write about it. Well, when the writer did write about it, needless to say, it wasn't so moving and it wasn't that inspiring, especially to the women. Maybe from the outside looking in, if you were to read it, you might think it was inspiring. But it definitely was not something that I felt inspired, so I wrote my own article. So I'm going to promote it here. If you could go to positivelypositive.com and look for the article, that is called Mission Possible. That is called Mission Possible.
Mission Possible?
Mission Possible on positivelypositive.com.
Positively Positive. Now,
Positively
you've been contributing for a while.
Yes, Positively Positive. I have been. And, what's interesting is these women, it's an up-close and personal article about how these women are really with very little resources, turning their lives around. And a lot of people don't realize this. But if you have a heartbreak, whether you have an addiction or maybe you had a heartbreak in terms of your lifestyle, something happened, you might be going through their program, and they have a Jumpstart program. But what you don't realize is it's not them and us. We all go through some of the same issues. And in that article, I talk about being loved, wanting to be loved, wanting to be supported, and wanting to be valued. It's something that we all want. And one of the reasons why I'm also mentioning this article is it's about springing into action. And that's the beauty about this, is that they're all of them. One of them is a really beautiful artist. The other one is wanting to be a director. The other one is wanting to be a motivational speaker. Some of these women are so well educated, and I'm working with the women of the Los Angeles Mission. So it's really wonderful to see them, all these wonderful women and men, turning their lives around and springing into action. So the key here is, what are you doing to spring into action in your own life? What do you need? And my next guest is Donna Storing, and she's an internationally renowned classical musician, educator, keynote speaker, retreat leader, author, television presenter, award-winning recording artist, and groundbreaking social entrepreneur. She's also the founder of Listen for Life, a global nonprofit community for music listeners, performers, producers, all working together to restore the power of music as a positive force for communication, unity, health, and spiritual nourishment worldwide. Welcome to the show, Donna.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here too. So let's get right into it. One of the reasons why I wanted to have you on this show is I look at somebody like you and look at the resume I just kind of rattled off, right? You're doing all these wonderful things, and you are springing into action, and part of your action and your mission is that passion for music. How did you get started?
Oh, wow. Okay, in music?
Yeah, in music. Let's talk about music.
Okay.
In your life.
Well, the story goes, I'm told, I was about 2.5. I was adopted. And I was about 2.5, and my parents were always watching to see what interests each of us that had been adopted from totally different countries and places would show, because they didn't know what our background was, right? And so apparently when they would go visit friends that had pianos, I would spend the entire visit sitting at the piano and plunking out melodies I'd heard from the radio or whatever. And so people kept saying to them, you really need to get her lessons. And my mom started calling around all of the piano teachers, and, they would say, well, how old is she? And she'd tell them, and they'd hang up or just forget it. She's way too young. And so this kept going on and going on. Finally, she got really frustrated, and she thought, I know what I'll do. So to her huge credit, she signed up for the piano lessons. And she went and took the lessons, and then she came home and taught me whatever she'd learned that week.
Wow.
And, so by the time I was 4.5, I got a music scholarship to Mills College of Music, which is in California. And so I was there from 4.5 till about 12.
Now, let me ask you a question. What's your mom's name?
My mom's name is Peggy.
Peggy?
Sorry.
So let's do a shout out to Peggy, your mom, because it's Mom's Week. And I was just asking Jay right before we put you on the air with us, is, with mothers, what do they do? You know what I mean? And this is a great example of a mother who has a lot of dedication to make sure her daughter is, getting the support that she needs to support that talent.
That's absolutely right, and that's really beautiful. And she's now in an Alzheimer's care facility, and she doesn't know who I am.
So is my mom.
Very meaningful for this week for Mother's Day. Thank you.
Well, I said this at the beginning of the show, Donna, about my own mom, who's is in advanced stages of Alzheimer's as well, and I said, she may not know who I am and know that it's Mother's Day, but somewhere in the world, in her spiritual connection, she knows who I am. And the same thing with you, too. She knows on a spiritual level.
Yes, absolutely.
So you went to the college, getting back to college, and so then what provoked this motivation around your passion for music and starting Listen for Life?
Okay, well, I had always planned, because people would ask me, I was at the college from when I was 5, right, till 12. So people would say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I thought if they were asking me that and I was already giving concerts, that they must mean something else. So I would think, well, what else do I want to do? And I'd say, well, I want to be either a missionary or a doctor, because I really want to help people. And so they say, great. So I went to college doing pre-med, and when I, actually went to college, I did pre-med. And I was continuing to perform all over the country, and I've been doing that since I was about 5, I guess.
Wow.
And so it was second nature. But what happened was, in my teens, people, grown men, would come up after concerts, and they'd have tears in their eyes, and they'd say, such and such a piece, or something you said, or whatever, really touched and healed something in me. My wife just passed away, or, I'm fighting cancer, or yada, yada, yada. And I began to keep hearing this word, healed. And I finally figured out that maybe God was sending a message to me, that I could heal people being who He created me to be, a concert pianist, a musician, and not necessarily, need to finish med school, which I was enjoying. That was fine. But this was a different way, that I'd been given the gift to do something different. And I also then began to realize that it was actually a form of being a missionary as well, if you like. I'm a missionary for music, an evangelist for music.
I love it.
And its power. And I've seen its power work in so many different ways. I began to be asked to do projects that involved either, leading a retreat or doing something with the UN, and bring music to bear on a situation that would prevent violence or help build cultural diversity or peace or whatever. So I began to see the tremendous power of music that I just took for granted. I never even really thought about it. And then gradually I became asked to be artistic ambassador for the UK and the USA. So I was traveling around the globe in places that nobody gets to go as a tourist, bringing music as an ambassadorial role.
Wow.
And speaking. And in this, I'd be on the television networks of these countries, and it didn't matter how poor the area. I always tried to stay in the really underdeveloped regions of the city. I told them, don't put me in a 5-star hotel. I want to be in with the people and get to know the culture. And my minor in university ended up being sociology, and so I think this all came to bear. It all added up together. So anyway, I would get approached by people in the street after they'd seen me on TV. Didn't matter if I was in a favela in Brazil or in a very ritzy enclave in Switzerland. Didn't matter. I would get approached by 3 different groups of people. The first group was the 20-somethings, saying we were raised on MTV, but we've totally outgrown the music content, even though we've used to that presentation style. And what you did on TV last night, we really enjoyed. Can you do a lot more of that? Because it's just not existing. There aren't really fun music videos or music programs about anything other than, the current pop or whatever. So I got that message. And then there would be another group coming up, and I'd say, who are you? And they'd say, we're the parents, and we're furious because our countries are importing music that is killing off our own culture, our children's awareness of their own culture and appreciation for it. And we want them to have both. Can you help with that? And then I'd get a third group coming up, and I'd say, who are you and what do you want? And they'd say, we're the musicians and we're giving up. And I'd say, huh? And they'd say, look, we don't have the opportunity to share our gifts or our culture on global media because our country's importing the likes of MTV. I'm not trying to use that one as an example, but, it's importing European, Western values, cultures, and music because it wants the advertising revenue that those channels can pay. But we don't have any opportunity to share our riches, our culture, our gifts, our expression with the rest of the world. And we can't support ourselves anymore because our children aren't interested in carrying on that tradition. They want to do what they see on TV, which is something else. And so we're losing it, and, we have instruments in our village that for the first time nobody alive knows how to play.
Wow.
And I said, oh, my gosh, we have to do something about this. And so those 3 things, I thought, how can we combine those 3 problems and create one solution? And that the organization of people that came around me willing to help were a group of music listeners and performers and producers. And that became Listen for Life 16 years ago. We just had our anniversary. So
that's a huge.
To have been able to succeed in surviving this long in the economies that there are. And we still invite anyone listening in, if you're interested in just listening to music or you believe that, we need to do something to change the channel of what is being broadcast musically in global media, please contact us.
Well, it sounds like, one, there's a need. I think that when MTV and some of these other channels started, it was the new kind of hip thing, etc. But it's also being fed at such a machine that a lot of people aren't getting exposed to other music, like you said. Going back to what you said, I became an ambassador for the UK and here in the United States. What does that entail exactly?
It's artistic ambassador, and what that entails is you are sent to represent that country or that culture in another culture. And so you're almost like an exchange student, only in a grown-up version, and you're playing concerts and speaking and going to official visits to schools and hospitals and, music conservatories and on the television and whatever you can do to, first of all, share your own gifts and the many cultures that you might represent through your music, because I pretty much represent as many cultures of the world as I can in the concerts I play, and I try and take my listeners around the world during a concert. But also you're learning about their culture and how what you do can help them to appreciate their own traditions, their own values, and promote those, or share those, I should say, with the rest of the world.
What's the biggest issue, especially here where we have budget cuts, right? It seems like music and art gets cut the most, and yet it feels like something that we need, not just in terms of our creativity, but for our soul purpose, what you're talking about.
There are many, many benefits that have been proven time and again by scientific experiments, by neurological research, especially in the last 5-10 years, that show the many different areas of the brain that is activated through musical sound. But it has to be acoustic sound. It can't be synthesized digital tones.
Wow.
And this is part of the problem with a lot of the synthesized and generated music today, with the dance beats, et cetera. That's part of the problem, because that's not necessarily damaging, but it's not positive either. When you could have, it's kind of like nutrition. We try and go into schools right now, and I try and contact schools one by one and ask each classroom teacher to give me 15 minutes in their class. And we go one by one to try and teach, the kids, or just talk to them about all the different kinds of music that they're listening to, which are all great. But the fact that music is a nourishment. So you can have toxic music, which is bad for you because of the harmonies and the things that are in there. You can have, free music, which is neither bad nor good, and then you can have really positive stuff. So we want to encourage making positive music listening choices to all age groups of the planet, and we've created Travels with Music, which you can find at travelswithmusic.com, which is a way of experiencing the cultures of the world through their master musicians.
Well, let me just reiterate this again, too, and you've mentioned and touched on it. Listen for Life is solely funded by individual contributions of time, talent, resources worldwide, and they have just celebrated their 16th anniversary and has impacted over 10 million individuals in 55 countries through its programs, projects, products, and productions. I want to just invite all of my listeners, everybody out there, to support this. We need music. We need music in our cultures. It is listenforlife.com or travelswithmusic.com. You could check out how you can get involved. Also, DonnaStoring.com, STOERING, a wonderful talent, a beautiful human being. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you, Nina. And it's actually listenforlife.org.
I got org. It's listenforlife.org. I said .com.
Yeah.
So
thank you so much.
Yeah, listenforlife.org. We need to spring into action with music. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All
thank
right.
you to everyone.
See straight and save. These days, everyone seems to see things differently. But from your eyes, you can see straight and save. Right now, get glasses online at 70% off at Glasses USA. There's a 100% guarantee, too, on top brand men, women, multifocal, and even prescription sunglasses. Visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Glasses USA, and you will see straight and save.
Okay, you're stressed. You need a little R&R. Wouldn't going to a spa help? There's all kinds of spas, too. Destination spas, medical spas, day spas, even dental and mobile spas. Where do you find the right spa at the right price? Oh, no, more stress? Well, not anymore. Visit spafinders.com. At spafinders.com, you'll find everything you need to know about spas from around the world. So de-stress. Click on spafinders.com right on our homepage. Oh, I'm feeling relaxed already.
We're HealthyLife.net, reaching and helping a worldwide audience without hype, without shock, and without shenanigans.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to LifeBites Radio. I'm your host, Nina Bosky. We are talking about springing into action. And I also want to give you, if you go onto our Facebook page, it is facebook.com/LifeBitesTV, and ask the question earlier about mom and why do you value your mom? And Donna from Manteca says that I love my mom. Actually, I love my grandmother because she taught me how to cook. So happy Mommy's Day to Mom and Grandma. And also Eric from San Diego says, I love my mom because she taught me how to organize. So on that note, Elizabeth Summers, one of my, I just love her. She's just got a beautiful energy. She is a spiritual counselor. She's also an esoteric numerologist and uses astrology as well as, I'm sure, a lot of other gifts. And we're going to talk to her today a little bit about astrology in terms of these recent eclipses, but also, more importantly, numerology. I love numbers, and I find it very fascinating. So welcome to the show, Elizabeth.
Hi, how are you, Nina? I'm so happy to be here, and hello to everyone who's listening.
Oh.
Delightful on an early morning.
Early morning. So, well, let's get right into it. Let's talk about a little bit about the eclipses that have just, bestowed us with their wonderful energy, I like to say. So tell us what's going on.
The work that I do, I bring in the ancient numerological code interpretations, tarot, and astrology. And so we want to boost off this particular visit with you, talking about the eclipses. The full moon eclipse that was around April 15 was a little thunder bumper.
Yes.
Because it was also connected to what is called a cardinal cross. And I want everyone to just think of a boxing ring. And in the four corners of the boxing ring were four very powerful planets that affected especially Aries, Libra, Capricorns, and Cancerians. And so that's still in effect, and it's going to be in effect for a while. So all of those major sun signs need to have a little heads up. Now, our last eclipse that we had at the very tippy-toe end of April as we moved into Taurus was in Taurus. And, it's kind of a goodie. It's kind of a goodie. And eclipses have a 6-month run. People think, this is the full moon, this is the eclipse 3 days before, 3 days after, and eclipses have the power of 3 moons, either 3 new moons, 3 full moons. The eclipses run a 6-month track.
Wow.
This eclipse in Taurus at the very tippy-toe end, April 28th, 29th, kind of depends on where you live in the globe, actually, is in Taurus, and it's going to have people focusing on Mother Earth, their finances. It's a real second house issue astrologically. It is about values. It is about issues. And it is about, let's get square here, folks, and look at the practical aspects of life. We've run through Aquarius, we've run through Pisces in the, as we get into January, February, early March. Now we're into the meat and potatoes, bread and butter. This eclipse will have people getting very serious about their financial life, their practical life, what's important to them value-wise, and it's going to run the whole way to September when we run into another pair of eclipses in the fall.
So what exactly, you look at these eclipses right now, right? One of the things that I think is interesting is, your finances, what you value. I've noticed not only in my own life, but other people around me specifically, it's like what is not true for you is being, provoked, evoked, etc., to get you to deal with what's going on in your life.
Totally. Now, I spoke generally about the eclipses that influences everybody on the earth.
Yes.
Every person, however, personally goes through 9-year cycles of issues. And that is where my numerology kicks in, because I'm able to tell people, okay, in this moment of time, where are you in this specific 9-year cycle? Are you in year 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, whatever?
And that is even much more personal for people to understand. Yes, they're part of the bigger global. But many people, and maybe your friends, because an outside world's a mirror of their inside world, your friends might be reflecting actually in an aspect of you that is in major transition. Hello?
Oh, Lordy. That's why I love you, Elizabeth. I just love it. It's like, yes, the reflection of ourselves, the symbols of ourselves. But
Exactly. And I will tell you that I have, myself included, and many of my friends and many of my clients, as I wrote about in my numerology newsletters, which you can find on my website, ElizabethSummers.com, and sign up for it. It's free, folks. But I kept telling them, expect this, hold on. Many of them sailed right through it.
yes.
Because they personally either had done their work or were not in a personal, energetic position where they needed to be slapped upside the head by a 2x4 by their soul to get them with the program that's going on here in the universe.
Yeah, and
so
what I
know that eclipses are not a bad thing.
Yes.
They are saying, look at this. Now, you're either going to look at this or we're going to put drama in front of your face for you to look at it, to use your free will to make your choices. So it's not a bad thing. Eclipses can be a lot of fun.
Well,
We're game.
I also think that, being the fact that it is in Taurus, like you said, it's a wonderful time to really root yourself and ground yourself and get into the core and nurture yourself.
What is important here?
Yes.
I spoke last night on my radio show to all the mothers out there who, some of them have children who are not so spiffy-doodle. Some of them have spiffy-doodle children or do whatever. And I said to the mothers, because that's a soul agreement that souls go through. The spiritual connection is between the mother and the child. Always, always, always. I said to the mothers, nurture yourself. Don't wait. Go buy your own flowers, your wine, your tea, your whatever. You are valuable. You did the best you could with what you had to work with. You are loved, but you love you. And don't wait for other people to shower you with this and that and the other thing. If they do, great. If they don't, okay. But I'm doing it. And my house, I'm telling you, Nina, is filled with roses, wine, lobsters, and filet mignon as we speak.
I love it. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk more about the numbers, but the wonderful eclipse energy and the eclipse wonderful opportunity to get real, get grounded, get focused, and present and nurture yourself. We'll be back right after this.
To be a good father is the most important job in a man's life, but it doesn't have to be hard. Play catch, go to a park or visit a zoo. Help your child with their homework. Sit down together for dinner. Ask them how their day was. Things get busy, and sometimes we all fall short. But the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
For more than 20 years, Homeboy Industries has made a difference in the lives of former gang members and at-risk youth in Los Angeles. Their free programs and services have given hope and opportunity to thousands and their signature businesses. Homeboy Bakery, Homegirl Cafe and Catering, Homeboy Silkscreen and Embroidery, and Homeboy Merchandise offers hands-on training in a safe work environment. Donate to Homeboy today and help them continue their important work. To find out more, call 323-526-1254 or visit online at www.homeboy-industries.org.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to LifeBites Radio. I'm Nina Bosky, where entertainment meets life. And we are talking about springing into life, springing into action. And with me, as one of my guests who's helping me do that, is Elizabeth Summers. You can go to JonesSummers.com. Find out all about her. We're talking about in this segment about numerology, and let's get right into the numbers because you're a whiz with the numbers. So what is going on? Let me ask you about May. Does a month have a number attached to it? Obviously, it's the 5th month of the year. Is there something special about May for everybody?
Absolutely. When a person, any person, writes, says, thinks about the month that they are in, they will project that specific energy into the universe. And the month of May is about the number 5. And the number 5, the 5th month of the year, is about change and movement and freedom. And Mother Earth does that too. And the number 5 is like put your roller skates on. On my website, ElizabethSummers.com, is a whole newsletter, is articles that I have written all about the number 5 because it's like a Mexican jumping bean. I mean, it's all over the place. And so people can start this and stop this and start and stop, and their main issue that they need to deal with in the month of May is to decide what it is that they want to change, move from, and focus on it. Focus on it. When it comes to housing and nurturing and all of that lovey-dovey, June is when we're going to talk about that.
Ooh.
But the month of May is very, very quixotic. And the articles that are on my website are absolutely explaining to everybody about the energy that is in May, because when you write the number 5, when you say it, when you think it, oh, this is May 16th, 17th, whatever, you are sending those words or vibrations that triculate, that activate that energy in the universe. And so we can see it in the weather. I mean, isn't it just one thing after another, weather-wise?
It's all over the place.
The month of May is Action Jackson. We are changing from the dormancy of the previous months, which actually began to activate in the month of April, but now it is externalizing out into our environment, and people are buying flowers and they're fertilizing their lawn. The number 5 is connected to the physical body. It's about the physicality of life. And therefore, everyone's kind of getting with the program as best that they can.
So let's talk about the numbers as they relate to these eclipses, and how would you know individually what your numbers are?
Well, how you would know what your numbers are is you contact Elizabeth Summers.
I love it.
Numerologist.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
That's what you do, because it's on my website, ElizabethSummers.com. And you know, but when I do readings, they are all non-computerized. I don't plug people's information into a computer. Everything is done by, I will tell you what year you are personally in. The universe is in a 5 right now, and this is happening. But I can calculate out for you using very ancient principles where you personally are in your current 9-year cycle. We go in 9-year cycles from birth to death out of this lifetime. And that's how one would find out who they are, where they're going in this 14 to 15. And you know, Nina, one thing I do want to point out, I bring in tarot, astrology, 5,000-year-old codes of information, but I'll tell you right now, in 2014, that in 2017, between 2015 and 2017, hold on to your hat. It's going to be a bumpy-wumpy little ride for many, many, many of us. In 2017, from a tarot card perspective, there's going to be a major shift in people's lives.
Wow.
Big time. Big shift. 2017 is the year to watch.
The year to watch. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about coming up. May is obviously a big month in terms of movement. How about the summer months, June, July, and August? What do we need to focus on?
Well, in the month of June, it's about love, nurturing, and caring. I'm already sending those articles out to all the magazines I write for. It is about, you'll find more Venus energy. You'll find more energy on a personal level, energetic level, that is connected to beauty, home, entertaining. People are coming out of their caves. In the month of July, interestingly enough, the number 7 applies to July. People want a vacation, and the number 7 is about vacation. It's about sabbatical. It's about going into nature, the national parks, the oceans, the lakes, the fishing, and the whatever. Statistically, more people take vacations in July than in any other month. Isn't that it? And in the month of June, which is the 6th month of the Lover's card in Tarot,
is that why
marriages statistically occur.
I know, I was going to say, is that why people get married in June? Because of the 6th?
Yes.
Wow.
Statistically, the number 6, it just influences them and their hearts, and it's Venus energy, which is just about love. And the number 6 is the Lover's card. Number 7, which I call the Greta Garbo number, I want to be alone. I want to kick back. I don't want to deal with anything. In August, we come out and we become very executive. Okay, the kids got to go to school. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to get this ready. I got to get this ready for the fall. And there's a total energy shift in August from the energy that, generally speaking, not on the personal, it'll affect them personally, but we can even get more specific personally. But generally speaking, in August, we are the executive. In July, we are the I want to be alone. Let me just chill out and sit with my martini in some sort of chair someplace by water. And in June, we are entertaining. We are getting married. We are just planting flowers. Venus energy.
I love it. I love it. And in May, we're action, which is kind of funny that I didn't know that, talking to you beforehand, that we were going to spring into action. But 5, it really does, really align really nicely with the 5 energy springing into action.
I know. It's all very exciting. And my esoteric numerology that I do for all my clients combines astrology, tarot, and the ancient codes of numerology on ElizabethSummers.com. And all they have to do is hit that contact button and be in charge and be in contact with me.
Oh, I love it. You've got such a wonderful energy. You'll help motivate people, especially if they're feeling stuck or this eclipse energy is, they need to change. They need to move. They need some freedom. ElizabethSummers.com. You can find out all about her. She is a whiz with a lot of things, but definitely knows her numbers and knows how to combine all of her gifts. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
And thank you, Sweet Pea, and hello to everyone, and I am honored to be on your show. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Action Jackson, ElizabethSummers.com.
Shh. Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
Use Royal Essence Organic Bulgarian Rose Water and stress will melt away. Emotions become balanced. Skin will be healed, moisturized, and tightened. Produced in the Valley of Roses in Bulgaria, Royal Essence Organic Bulgarian Rose Water comes from the highest quality rose oil in the world. For thousands of years, rose water has been prized for its cosmetic and medicinal purposes, and now you can get the best. Visit RoyalEssence.com or call 949-357-9389. That's 949-357-9389.
If you're in the UK, you can have a healthier pet for less by going to Pet Supermarket. Whether you have a dog, cat, bird, fish, reptile, or other small pet, you can get everything you need for your pet for less. They have the brands you know and trust. You can even buy gift certificates and doggy clothing and apparel. Get your pet everything they need from nose to tail. Visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Pet Supermarket now.
You're listening to CHSR, Real Radio on the web.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the LifeBites radio show. We are talking about springing into action. Yes. Sheila, I was also taking some posts from our Facebook page because I was talking about Mother's Day, because this Sunday is Mother's Day, and it's a wonderful time to nurture yourself as well. You're going to spring into action, but hopefully you're going to nurture yourself and nurture Mom this weekend. And Sheila from Los Angeles says that her mom was her best friend. She died a little over 5 years ago, but she thinks of her every single day. And how many of us, I still have my mom, but as I was saying earlier, she has Alzheimer's. So she's here with me physically, but mentally and emotionally she's not here. And so for those of us for those of you, I should say, that do not have your mom anymore, you could still connect to them in spirit. And there's definitely a connection to all of us and all human beings and all of life. And that's why I also wanted to have our next guest, Noelle Mead Izzi, who is the author of The Hummingbird, that answered my heart's calling. And I thought, she's also known as the Queen Pollinator. And it's about our connection with nature and all human beings and all living things. And I thought this was a wonderful opportunity in regards to springing into action to have her give us a little bit of her little magic juju of nature. So welcome to the show, Noelle.
Thank you for having me, Nina.
Well, let's talk a little bit, because what captured me, and I would love to talk, we could talk about the whole book in its generalities, but I do want to talk about The Hummingbird, but I also want to talk about how is it that our connection with nature is affecting our spiritual connection in our lives?
Well, if we just look at the simple statement, and it's funny because we human beings have coined ourselves as human nature. So that in and of itself should tell the story right there. When we assume or somehow forget or disconnect from the fact that we are also nature, just in a different form, and, the highest intelligence, or so we think. Some studies might suggest different. But, we are very thinking intellectual beings, but we are human nature. And so when we nurture that part of us, we then are able to really see our connection to all things. And by the way, going out into the natural world around us is something that has been given to us through the universal intelligence, through God, for free. So the thing about nature is it is so benevolent that it says to us, here, I am free. Enjoy me. Connect with me. Understand that I am you and you are me, and we nurture and take care of one another. And so I think we're losing that connection.
Well, I think you're right, and I think that part of the reason is that, one, we live in these cities with, media and technology that are constantly bombarding us, and we don't go back to nature. We're not in nature. And I think that's a really important aspect of what you're talking about. And I know even early in my last segment we were talking about reconnecting, grounding yourself to Mother Earth, right? And I think one of those things that if we can do that, I know for myself, I feel so much better when I reconnect to nature versus being, on my cell phone, being in technology, and being in the busyness of life. So how did the crash of 2008 help you heal?
Well, the crash of, they say through adversity we have learning, but there's also the option of through wisdom we learn. Most people operate from the former, which is, adversity, and then comes the learning. And that's pretty much, what happened during the market crash of 2008. And it was, happening to everybody in the country and worldwide. And the widespread panic and fear and the what if. What if this happens to me? What if I lose everything? What if I have to move back in with parents? What if parents have to move in with me? I mean, just all of these things that were inundating us through this market crash and the fear associated with it. For me, I personally started to experience a physical reaction from all of my worry, and that was panic attacks. And, I'd never experienced anything like that before. And anybody out there who's ever had their first panic attack or anxiety attack, it feels like a cardiac arrest. And, for some of us, including myself, you have a trip to the ER wondering if you're dying at the age of 30 years old. So, through the market crash, I began a ritual of, just like you said, of prayer and grounding myself. So I would go out every single morning, and I committed myself to just doing breathing exercises, taking in the world, the natural world around me, allowing it to be a part of my life, integral part of my life, not just a backdrop to my busy, busy, busy day. And through my prayer out into Mother Earth and Mother Nature, the answer was a hummingbird that showed up about 2 weeks after my morning rituals, and she decided to nest on my balcony. And for 3 months, she took me through a healing journey, an awakening that I had never experienced in my life before. And from that point on, the trajectory of my life completely changed from this experience.
So tell me, what do you think that the hummingbird represented? Because one of the things that caught me when I saw your book and saw your title is I have an affinity with hummingbirds anyway, right? So they represent something very interesting to me. So what do they represent to you?
Well, first and foremost, it was about what she put me in immediately, that I could not remove myself from her presence, was a space of childlike awe. And what happens is we completely lose that.
Yes.
And so I was just like my hand over my mouth. I had never seen a nest of a hummingbird before. And by the way, it's the size of a walnut shell cut in half. I had never seen an egg of a hummingbird, and by the way, it's the size of a Tic Tac.
Oh, wow.
And I never, the pictures in the photographs that I took in the book, because she was so close, I was able to get close-ups, and that helps people really get a perspective on the detail of everything.
Yes.
But from far away, the naked eye, it really is a struggle to see a hummingbird nest and the egg and the whole process, because even the hummingbird itself is very small.
Yes.
So that childlike awe that she drew me into was the first thing that I realized. It just, all of this kind of tension and fear just fell away. It was like releasing like a layer of skin.
Wow.
And from there, this whole new person in me emerged, because I felt so honored. I felt I was so gifted with the ability to be a part of this bird's journey through hummingbird motherhood, and it was just, so that was the first thing. And then, of course, the joy and the playfulness and the balance the balance of our pollinators, of giving and receiving. Every time she goes and receives nectar from flowers that sustains her, she gives back the pollen from her beak. She doesn't make apologies for receiving, and she's charitable with her giving. How great would our society and world be if everybody gave and received in perfect balance so people didn't get sick because their life force was being sucked out of them by other people because they give and give and give?
Wow. I just think there's such beautiful symbolism, metaphors, the beauty in nature, and I could talk about this all day long. I just, because it's not just the hummingbird, it's the bees, it's nature. But I just also want to give people your website so that they can contact you. They can get more information about your book, which is The Hummingbird, that answered my heart's calling. It's Benevolent. So benevolent, right? It's kind of a playoff, right? .com. So BEE-NEVOLENT.com.
And there's a wonderful Mother's Day special going on right now.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Noelle, for being on the show and sharing some beauty and some beautiful wisdom from nature.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
I love food, and I love to eat. The cooking and cleaning part, not so much. And then I found a link to the chef's catalog on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page, and I was happy to find all sorts of amazing recipes and tips on cooking, in addition to great chef-quality kitchen equipment and savings as well. Now I look forward to my time in the kitchen thanks to chef's catalog on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page.
For more than 20 years, Homeboy Industries has made a difference in the lives of former gang members and at-risk youth in Los Angeles. Their free programs and services have given hope and opportunity to thousands and their signature businesses: Homeboy Bakery, Homegirl Cafe and Catering, Homeboy Silkscreen and Embroidery, and Homeboy Merchandise. Offers hands-on training in a safe work environment. Donate to Homeboy today and help them continue their important work. To find out more, call 323-526-1254 or visit online at www.homeboy-industries.org.
Music, information, and friends. HealthyLife.net.
Well, that closes out this week's show. I'd like to thank my guest, Donna Storeen. That is listenforlife.org, listenforlife.org. Elizabeth Summers, elizabethsummers.com, helping us through numerology. And Noelle Mead, Izzi, author of The Hummingbird That Answered My Heart's Calling. And go to benevolent.com. I'd like to leave you with this thought. In order to carry a positive action, we must develop here a positive vision. That's from the Dalai Lama. So until next time, I'm Nina Blasky for Life Bites. And remember to take a bite out of life before life takes a bite out of you.